Woo. There she
Yay.
is.
Was she a little loud?
No, it's fine. I'm used to it.
So what made you decide to do like half the first half of the record with a band and then the second half like the regular acoustic stuff?
Yeah, good question. So when I put out Back to the Party, my last album, we decided because it came out in the pandemic, a lot of people didn't get to see me live. I had to cancel, I think, 4 tours when that came out. So we put out this full band EP that was the 3 singles but full band versions, and it's something I'd always wanted to do. I write acoustic songs with full band arrangements in mind. It's always really it's never really a choice to just be acoustic. It's just kind of by necessity. It's the best way to tour, really. It's the easiest
Yeah.
way to get yourself out there. So that went really well, and I got a lot of positive feedback from that, and it kind of gave me the confidence to pursue the full band thing, because it can be really easy to get kind of pigeonholed and feel a bit limited in terms of maybe what other people expect of you. And I have always had fun in bands and played in bands just as a musician to have fun.
Yeah.
But I'd never sort of brought that into the Sam Russo project until that EP. So I decided to get together with some friends who I play with locally just for fun, and use their incredible talents to flesh out 5 of the songs for the record that I thought were a little bit more likely to translate really well to full band. So yeah, we started practicing in this little filing room in a factory in town where one of my buddies worked. Um, and gradually fleshed them out, and they started working really well. We kind of got hooked and ran with it. And then initially the idea was to have the 5 full band songs be the same on the B-side but acoustic, so acoustic versions. But I just hit this patch of inspiration and wrote 5 songs really quickly, which is unusual for me. So yeah, we were able to do 10 originals in the end.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you think you'll do the acoustic versions ever on like just like a special edition record or anything?
I think we'll definitely do a reverse version of this record somehow. I think we don't have a lot of time to practice now before the release shows, but we've been kicking around the idea. Like Matt, our drummer, is really keen to do Bait Machine full band. The guys really want to do Lifeguard Tower full band, and I obviously play all 5 of the full band songs acoustic when I play them live. So yeah, there's definitely scope for that in the future.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah,
The band members that you wrote with, um, these longtime like childhood friends. I know it's like 2 of them are tattoo artists.
yeah,
You have tattoos by them too. So
yes. Yeah,
nice.
so Chris Stockings plays guitar and Josh Horrell plays bass. They're both local tattoo artists. I've been friends with Chris for a really long time, maybe since my early 20s, I think. We're from the same town, known each other forever. We go way back. Chris played lead guitar on Back to the Party, played lead guitar on the Refuse to Lose EP, and he's joined me live quite a few times just as backup and lead guitar player. So I knew those guys really well. Josh as well is an old friend. He plays bass and tattoos in town. And then Matt Warrand is the drummer, and he was a childhood friend of those guys. So we started playing in like a pop punk band, basically, just to have fun. I was playing bass and wasn't singing, and I would show up to practice with just my bass, like barefoot, and I would just play and vibe out and enjoy myself. And eventually they managed to kind of twist my arm, like, we should really do your songs instead of dicking around with these instrumental pop punk songs. And I didn't want to sing. I just wanted to hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
Because it adds so much responsibility when you have to be songwriter, singer, guitar player, etc., etc. So it went from like a really easy breezy, fun summer bass playing barefoot project to a much more serious songwriting exercise. But yeah, I've known those guys forever. Me and Matt were really fast friends. We clicked immediately.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think we've got a lot of shared interest, shared passion for getting up early and drinking coffee and going skateboarding. For 40-year-old guys doing that, it's good fun. So yeah, we became friends really quickly, and he's so motivated and very keen to get out and play shows. So perfect fit, really.
That's awesome. What's the hardest
Yeah.
trick that you do on skateboard?
Uh,
Skateboard. So as a
I
45-year-old man.
Right, right. So I have to be a little bit careful because I actually broke my back skateboarding in 2020.
Oh fuck.
So yeah, so I have to kind of go a little bit easier now. But recently I've been we go to the mini ramp, and I've been frontside slash grinding in the mini ramp, which is something I
Nice.
always wanted to get. Um, so just really simple stuff in the mini ramp. I'll do I like to do Burt turns and old school tricks. Like I like a good no comply or a good boneless.
Yeah.
I can kickflip, all the standard stuff. But I really like these slash grinds. I'm waking up in the morning like excited to get out there and do it.
Cup of coffee and a slash grind. That sounds awesome.
That's
Sounds
a great
sounds
way
like
to
you
start the
want it
day.
to be honest.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And my knees hurt, and I had a really bad accident that involved my genitalia when I was skateboarding, so I just can't.
Oh no. Oh, dude. So sorry
Yeah,
to hear that.
yeah, yeah.
Yikes.
It's a whole story. It's kind of funny. Maybe I'll email you the story.
Yeah, great. I'd love that.
So what do you think is the biggest difference between this record and past records with how you wrote it and possibly even like the themes that you go with on this record?
Yeah, I really feel like this record is so different in so many ways that no one will ever really know about unless they read this interview because the process was so different. I write lyrics in a complete vacuum. I never collaborate really on lyrics. But musically, I soak up soak up a lot of inspiration from lots of musical sources that people might not necessarily think make sense for the fairly tender acoustic stuff that I do. And for this record, I went back to, Minutemen records. I was listening to Red Cross. I was listening to the entire Bad Religion discography, and I was looking for that energy and that fizz and that pop, but
Yeah,
still with enough melodic sensibility for it to sound authentically like stuff that I would write really naturally. And it just started happening. It became a little bit more hard edged. The melodic sensibilities got a little bit more extreme. And I was able to pull from stuff that I'm not really able to on just solely acoustic writing. So lyrically, I got a little bit darker on a couple of songs. I think I wrote about some stuff I haven't written about before. Bait Machine in particular is about uh, systems of oppression in terms of capitalism, essentially work. How much it sucks to work a completely menial, thankless job and just about scrape by. I've touched on that in the past, but not with such attack, I think. So it was really quite liberating to just vent on that. That was great. Um, a song like, I mean, you mentioned, I've got the record here. I just need to remind myself of some type. Yeah. Unsolved Mysteries, you mentioned before. That's a kind of a direct follow up to a song called Storm on my first record, which is the closer on my first record. I wanted to borrow lyrics from that song, answer questions from that song, and round out a whole story. So I've never done that before. That was exciting. I've got a minute and 20-second songs on here that don't have choruses, so that's new.
yeah.
And that's a lot of fun to write. I'd get to this point where I'd feel like it was time for a second chorus, and I'd just stop and I'd go to practice and I'd say to the guys, "This song's not going to have a chorus, and it's just going to end after a minute and 18." And they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So
Fucking awesome. Yeah.
yeah, it's great to
Like
be able to do that.
like some of the old punk rock days where they would just do that, So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and I'm a huge fan of so many, thousands of songs that have that kind of similar style, and I wanted to try my hand at doing something like that, but that still felt intimate and real, and that still had as much of a sense of like a marriage of urgency and intimacy at the same time, and that's what a song like Gator Lodge, Padlocks and Germs Burns, they're trying that basically.
Yeah.
I hope Padlocks and Germs Burns is the first song written about the Punk Rock Museum in Vegas. I've got my fingers
I
crossed.
fucking love that song so much. And when I read the notes that you had in the press package, I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, this is making me want to go even more because I haven't been there yet. So
Oh, right on. It's
yeah,
yeah, it was one of the best weekends of my life. We did the whole Red Scare 20th year anniversary weekend there. I did some guided tours at the same time that Keith Morris was doing guided tours. It was absolutely
that's
mind
so
blowing.
cool. That had to
Yeah,
be surreal.
it was. I went on Keith Morris's tour nearly three times throughout the weekend. I dipped in, dipped out, had to go do other stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got to meet Keith and talk to him a bunch. I think maybe the second time I met Keith. But yeah, so I mean, everything about that place is magical to me. It's like absolute nerd paradise.
Yeah.
So I walked away from that with such a profound sense of gratitude, and I felt like I'd really lived something unique there. Like I have no right to go to the punk rock museum and play music and show people around. That's absurd, but I did, and the title is a reference. I like to have titles that have two things joined with an and. Tin Peaches and Diamond Rings, things like that, and
Yeah.
Padlocks and Germs Burns is kind of a referential nod to that first album again in that sense. But it's about Fletcher from the Copyrights has a germs burn. And I didn't know that, despite having toured with them a bunch. And he
Yeah.
told the story of how he got his germs burn in the middle of his tour, in the middle of his guided tour. And it was just such an amazing story. And they give you these, you can buy a padlock and you can padlock it to this fence outside the museum and you can write a message on it. And I wrote a message from my partner on there and clipped it to the fence. And I rang her and I was like, oh, I've written you this love message on a padlock and put it on the fence. She's like, oh, no, amazing. Describe what's happening around you. And I was like, there's a really gross strip club right next to me. and, and Fat Mike is shouting really loud. So maybe less romantic than it seemed in the
Oh,
moment.
wow.
But yeah, such an, like, I wanted to take
Sounds like a
moments.
Bukowski romance. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, we're big
Dirty.
Bukowski fans.
Yeah.
We've got nearly everything Bukowski ever wrote in this house. Um, but yeah, it felt like such a moment to grab. And my songs can be um, a bit more involved, I guess, in the writing process. And that one just flew out. So there's two songs on here that just came out in one hit, basically. Um, I would say Bait Machine was the quickest, and sorry, Bait Machine took the longest, and Padlocks and Germs Burns just absolutely flew out.
Very awesome.
Yeah, it's
Um,
totally new for me to write like that.
so speaking of like the themes of songs and whatnot, you have a song called Santa Monica Waves, and
Mm,
in the notes I read that has inspiration from working with youth and trying to listen to children, kids, and youth more often than we do.
mm.
Um, so first off, I just want to know, like, what did you do when you were working with youth? Were you social work? Were you teacher? What exactly did you do?
Yeah, I had a couple of different roles. I was a teacher for a while, but I worked in essentially in the UK. We have this kind of mentoring system in most schools where people get hired who have specific skills to work with young people who are maybe not engaging in the ways that the school wants with their their system. So I was a tutor and a mentor, and I worked in child and adolescent mental health and well-being as well.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
cool. And then when's what exactly inspired you to like write about like, you know, listening to the voice of the youth more than we do?
Well, it
Sure.
goes back to, yeah, listening to, old punk bands, right? So you're listening to maybe less articulate punk rock bands from that first wave of LA hardcore, for example. And it is all about, it's a kind of a cry for help. A lot of that music. It's a lot of kids saying, "Listen to us, fuck you, listen to us," and I wanted to create a narrative out of that that comes from a place that's real, my lived experiences working with young people, but that also is maybe set somewhere where I can actually have like a story happen. Because I love writing story songs. I'm essentially a folk songwriter. So Santa Monica Waves is a really sad teen suicide ballad in essence.
Yeah.
And it came from two influences. I was watching Obituary live in a church. Uh,
Damn.
so yeah, one of my favorite death
Awesome.
metal band. Yeah, in a church in the Essex countryside,
That's
and
maybe the most metal thing I've heard in a long time.
yeah, and the ceiling. They projected these red lights on the ceiling that were moving, so it was like blood on the ceiling of the
Oh my
church.
God. That's
That was
fucking
unreal.
awesome.
But I was getting lost in the music and not really knowing all of the lyrics. A lot of death metal, you don't really know the lyrics. So I read up on some Obituary trivia afterwards. There's a couple of songs on the first record where the singer didn't sing words, he just made noises because he didn't have lyrics yet. So he was literally just going, making these noises. And then he attributed lyrics to it later. And then I've always been a huge fan of the song Santa Monica by Everclear. It's
Great
like,
song.
yeah, but two complete different ends of the
Yeah.
spectrum in terms of
Yeah.
influences. So the first draft of Santa Monica Waves was a couple of, very sort of fringe, rejected, downtrodden, outcast metalheads going to road tripping to Santa Monica, and trying to find themselves, and ultimately leaving Santa Monica worse off in a lot of ways. And it slowly moved away from being more of a metalhead story and more towards being just a really sad story about two kids who just can't get a foothold in society and life, and have bad home lives, and have a lot of trouble at school. and sadly end up in the sea. So it was a hard one to write. It really, really moved me writing it. And I actually had to send it to a couple of people before I recorded it and say, do you think this is cool? Like, is this too far? Is this too much? Have I gone to a place that's a little bit, a little bit too much for some people? And the consensus was mixed, but I followed through with it because I thought it's trying to say something. Um, it's trying to say something to me really, really important in a way that is sensitive and careful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a preachy song, I don't think, but it is. It does have the message that if you can listen, you should.
Yeah. I feel like it's, at least for me, when I was listening to it, I feel like it's one of those songs that could, when I was a teenager, I would hear it and it would probably help me, like, steer me in the right direction, help me like go, okay, there's other people that have these feelings, and it would help with that like mental block of like, let me move forward from this. So yeah,
That
that's
means
a
a
good
lot.
song.
Thanks, man. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, yeah, tough one to write. A tricky balance there, but I'd
Yeah.
like to think that yeah, I was basically writing that for myself at that age as well. Just you know, uh, sending a message out there to open your heart and open your ears to kids that need you.
Yeah. Um, do you feel like the record has like a kind of con conducive theme to it, or is it kind of just like a Santa Monica and then the bruises and sunburns, and does it go everywhere? Is it, do you feel like it all comes together in like one theme?
I think the overall theme is intimacy and how loving relationships change and evolve. And that feels like a very broad theme, but for 10 songs and 31 minutes, like it it's a lot to cram in. There's songs on here about romantic love and how that changes over the course of a long-term relationship. There's songs about friendship dynamics. Winnie Winnie is a song about a really complicated family dynamic. Um, I guess the only outlier would probably be Bait Machine, and that is a slightly older song I've been working on for a long time, but it's still about those tough, um, you know, those tough times in life when you really need friends, family, intimate relationships to kind of get you through. So I feel like that's what holds the whole record together. And yeah, it's about the sort of shifting dynamics and how you weather that ever changing landscape of interpersonal relationships, intimacy, family, love, and friendship.
Okay, nice. Bruises and sunburns. You know, it, your notes said that it deals with um, in the words paraphrasing, I think, cold sea
Mm,
of alcoholism.
mm.
Um, was there something that inspired, or something that happened in your life in your past or someone else's past that inspired that song in particular? If you don't want to answer that, that's perfectly
Oh,
fine.
sure.
So
Yeah, no, I won't be I won't be naming names or anything, but
yeah,
yeah, no, there's I feel like as you get older, you see some shit.
yeah,
I've got a lot of people in my life I'm really close to who use alcohol in a lot of different ways, and this song was bubbling away under the surface for a really long time. It's the first song that we wrote for the record. It's one that we had the music for in the previous band where we were just playing for fun instrumentally. Um, and I went to the beach. So I go to the Suffolk coast quite a lot near where I live and just walk and spend time at the beach. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I was walking and sorry, go on.
I said that sounds relaxing.
Oh, yes, it's awesome. Yeah, it's great. It's my happy place.
Yeah,
Um, and I sat and I was trying to write these lyrics and I wasn't getting a foothold in what the song was supposed to be about because the music was already there. And it's quite hard for me to write lyrics on top of music that's already there because I feel a bit led by the mood. Um, but there was a lot of complicated stuff going on in my life involving booze, and I just needed a way uh, to vent about it essentially, and to build a song that felt like I guess to find a way to articulate it that wasn't destructive.
yeah,
So rather than having horrible, awkward, difficult, painful conversations in real life in that moment, I just wanted to put it into a song. So I tried to find a way to articulate these tiny moments in life that are either completely blasted apart by alcohol dependency and alcohol addiction, and the parts that are actually kind of elevated and made more exciting and more interesting,
Yeah.
and how much of a difficult conflict that is in life, and how much of a tough road that is to walk. I hope it comes across as a really sympathetic and caring song for anyone who's
Yes.
struggling with alcohol.
I'm not struggling with alcohol, but it does come across as sympathetic. Um,
Mm.
I absolutely love that song. So
Oh, thanks, man.
I've been sober for 3 years, so I was like, hey, I like that song.
Oh, congrats. That's
So
huge.
yeah.
Good for you.
What on the more fun side?
Sure. Yeah,
What
we've done
about
teen
the
suicide, alcoholism. What else we got?
yeah, yeah. Let's go into it all.
Yeah.
Got any conspiracy theories? Let's go. What about you working with Vinny from the movie Life?
Yeah, this is a good one. So Vinny and I have toured together quite a bit, and old friends, fast old friends, good buddies. We really click in a lot of ways. And like I said, I've never really collaborated on songs in this way before. And we were on tour in the UK, and we our schedule got fucked up somehow, and we were not stuck, but we we were spending too much time in a hotel in Newport in Wales, and it was like grim outside. It was raining. We were sort of stuck indoors, just playing cards and hanging out and chatting. And I got my guitar out and I was working on a song really quietly while he was having a nap, and I was trying to just work out this part in the song. And he came out like with his hair all up like this, and he's like, "The fuck you playing?" I told him I was working on a song. He's like, "Sounds awesome," and he sat down, and I was just stuck for like just an interesting chord progression to lead into the chorus, and he was just humming what I needed to play because neither of us are like trained musicians. We didn't even know the names of the chords we're playing, you know.
Yeah.
So he's like humming the notes, and I was trying to find the chords, and eventually we bumbled through this process where he would hum a melody of chords and I would play it, and then he would like tap along on the table with his chopsticks, and I would try and figure out a rhythm. And I was self-conscious that it wasn't going to work as a full band song, and he really helped me because he writes for I Am the Avalanche, he writes his solo stuff, he wrote loads of the best movie life songs,
Yeah.
and he really helped me shape it for a full band. He talked about it from a rhythmic perspective, um, and he basically helped me pull that chorus together. So the lyrics were already written. I played in my version of it, and he just made it way more interesting. Just helped me find those places to go with those. There's a couple of chords in there that are really minor and kind of jarring with the major melody of the chorus, and that's all Vinny. So yeah, we just walked away with that song finally finished after like a week of tinkering with it on the road. And I could not be prouder to have written with Vinny in that way. It just felt so natural, it felt so fun. And I'm so glad it made it onto the record. It's a song that means a lot to me, and having Vinny be a part of it was amazing.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun way to write a song with someone. Some chopsticks and humming. I love that.
Especially consider, like I feel quite scared of collaborating with people on songs. It's such a like a naked, intimate process. And the fact that he just like walked in half asleep and just waded in and started doing it really, knocked that barrier out the way completely.
Rip the band-aid off, like, come on,
That's exactly it.
man.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so went over most of these. Sorry.
No,
Uh,
you're good.
so a lot of this record was, it seems like it was written here in the States. So what pulls you towards playing in the States? You're on Red Scare Records as well, which is, you know, based around where I am. What about like American culture like pulls you in, and even like, is it like American punk rock and roll, all that kind of stuff? What exactly pulls you into American culture?
I mean, to begin with, when I'd never been, it's the classic stuff of the English kid growing up in the middle of nowhere. Is that everything cool is in America? All
Okay.
the music that you love,
Yeah.
great food, incredible landscapes, all the nature, everything that I love about America now. I was fascinated by about America when I was a very young kid, and then when I started touring America. I realized that that's how I like to tour. I like covering bigger distances. I like playing with bands that I love, most of whom are playing in America most of the time. I love seeing, mountains, ocean, desert, cities, everything, the whole spectrum of everything that America has to offer in terms of scenery and wildlife. It's absolutely amazing to me. And yeah, that rich tradition of punk rock going back to day one. All my favorite punk bands are American punk bands. I love all the English punk bands as well, but I am like a total nerd about LA punk from the inception of punk rock right through to now, basically.
Yeah.
So a huge amount of romanticism that is absolutely not blinkered enough to ignore the political climate and the socio-economic issues in the country. But when I tour, I feel like I'm having a chance to live that dream a little bit that my younger self really intensely wanted. So, you know, I'll play to 15 people in Modesto and feel like, you know, I've done something absolutely incredible. And and to most people that's insane. But I love doing it. Um, and yeah, it inspires me. The things that happen to me and the situations I end up in and the people I meet, all of it inspires me. And I end up writing a lot about yeah, traveling in America, especially the contrast between what it's like to tour in the US and then come home and just work a job and spend time at home in the middle of Suffolk countryside. It's a jarring
Yeah,
a
I
jarring
bit of
snap
a
back to
culture
reality.
shock right there.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, there's a song on the record called Lifeguard Tower, which is kind of a response to my first ever band's first song. I was in a punk band when I was 15 called Cry for Vengeance. And we,
Great name.
yeah, pretty good. And our singer wrote this song called California Sun, which was a deeply satirical, scathing attack on California superficiality, rich California entitlement. And I loved the song, but I hated being a part of something that was attacking a place that I really wanted to go and
Yeah.
see and be a part of. So I kind of wrote Lifeguard Tower as a song to redress the balance there a little bit. It's a fairly romantic California song, but it still has this undercurrent of uh, the grind of feeling like you're absolutely nothing and nobody in a place that's so absolutely stunning and beautiful. The message being that's okay. That's a great feeling. But yeah, it's trying to redress the balance of it with that song from when I was 15 and how guilty I felt playing it when all I wanted to do was go to California.
When was the first time they you came out here to
Uh, the
States?
first, yeah, the first I played the fest in 2011. And that was the first time I played in the US. That when I played Fest, that was the end of a long road trip my partner and I did from. We kind of did chunks of Route 66, but we started in Santa Monica, and we drove all the way across the US to Fest. So we didn't do the whole of 66. We came on and off it in different places. And it took us like 5 weeks. We were out for a really long time exploring. And then I played Fest at the end of that. And then I came back in 2012 for the Red Scare Across America tour, which was something like 52 shows in 50 days.
Oh, damn.
Uh, yeah, with Masked Intruder and Elway. And that's when I was just 100% all in on touring the US in a shuttle bus with San Francisco spray painted on the side, just like covered the entire country basically. Like there's still only a couple of states I haven't been to, and it's mostly thanks to that one tour.
Yeah.
But yeah, then came back a bunch with Lawrence Arms and Copyrights and Mike Yerg, Lucero, a bunch of great bands. Been really lucky to be able to do it with all of my favorite musicians. Essentially, there's not many more to tick off the list now.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
great. Yeah,
yeah, that's amazing. What states haven't you been to yet?
I haven't been to Maine, weirdly. I haven't been to Hawaii. There's one more. Oh, I haven't been to New Orleans. Louisiana, sorry. I haven't been to Louisiana.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I haven't been
No.
to all three of those actually, but
Yeah, they're where is that all of them? Alaska? I think that's it, yeah.
yeah, Alaska I just want to go to watch whales. So same thing in
Oh
Hawaii.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, every state I want to go to see some kind of animal. Like I really want to do a national parks trip next year.
that'd be cool. That'd
Yeah,
be,
before they're gone. Like who
yeah,
knows what's gonna happen? Like
I have a friend that works for national parks, and she tells me things about like what they're doing now and like how many cuts they're making with everything. I'm just like,
It's brutal. So brutal. I went to Sequoia National Park for the first time last year after the Punk Rock Museum. I rented a car. I drove from Vegas straight through to, I guess it's kind of Fresno area, north of Fresno. And I spent 2.5 days in Sequoia, basically in total silence, just walking and just having my mind blown. It's the most spectacular place I've ever been in my life.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, and weirdly, you don't get that where I live. So it's a real motivator to get out there and tour the states.
So you're like kind of in the middle of nowhere out where you are, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You
totally. I
have
mean,
farmland where like what do you do out there? You just have
not much. So I live 60 miles away from London.
okay,
Um, and between the nearest two cities are Cambridge and a much smaller Suffolk town called Bury St Edmunds. And I live in basically the town I grew up in, near my family. We're actually moving soon, but we've been here for over 10 years now. So
yeah,
um, yeah, I love being in the countryside. I love being away from big cities. So that's the draw. That's the attraction. And yeah, I just have a pretty quiet lifestyle. When I'm not touring or doing insane crap through music, I live a pretty low key existence out here.
very awesome. I grew up on a farm, so I
Oh,
completely get
nice.
that. Yeah. So like I live like right by Chicago now, and there's still I've been here for like 20 years, and there's still some times where I'm just like, this is too much. I need to
Yeah,
get away, and I just drive like 3 hours south, and I'm like, oh, there's nothing.
you
This
can
is
breathe.
great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's kind of where the Muckleshoot Casino song came from because you know Toby Jag from Red Scare. Have you met Toby before?
Yeah, I met him once at a T1 Fest. I don't know if you ever heard of that. He
No.
did a couple of things with T1 Fest. It's basically just for type 1 diabetes to raise his money, and they have like I think the copyrights have played there.
Awesome.
We had Teenage Ball Rocket a couple of years ago. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
That's great. Well, he grew up on a farm in Enumclaw in Washington State. And whenever we're anywhere near there, if we play Seattle or anywhere like that, we tend to stay at the farm. And it's awesome for me. Like I get to go hang out with the cows. Toby's brother Bill is still a farmer, runs the farm. Get to hang out with the horses and the goats and everything. And we were coming back from Seattle after a show, and we stopped at the Muckleshoot Casino, which is this gigantic, basically brand new Native American casino in the middle of right under Mount Rainier, just a massive casino. And I was kind of excited to go in and see what it was like, but I immediately so depressed by everything that I saw and everything I experienced. We were not there very long, and the song tells the story, the exact word for word verbatim story of what happened. I wrote it in my journal in like Toby's childhood bedroom that night. Um, so yeah, that song was written on a farm in Washington, and a few of the others were written basically on a farm in Suffolk.
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
What's is there a particular state that you like playing in the most? Like
playing in.
Chicago,
I mean,
Illinois? No.
it is impossible to top playing in Chicago. It's just
It's fun.
uh, the crowd, like the people I've met from I guess the Red Scare connection mainly, but the
Yeah.
friends I've made and the support people are showing me in Chicago is overwhelming. Like the noise people make when I get on stage in a little bar in Chicago
Yep.
blows me through the wall. I can't tell you how much I love the people, the city, everything about Chicago is incredible. But state-wise, I love playing in California because the drives and the scenery and the history. When we play LA, I get to see all the LA punk stuff. I get to just run around all day being a nerd looking at stuff and driving up the coast. I've got this vivid memory of me and Dan Adriano being in the front of the van one night. Dan driving, me just keeping him awake basically, and we're driving down the I think it must have been the Pacific Coast Highway or something, and we literally watched dolphins leap in the moonlight out the
That's
van window.
amazing. You
Yeah, I mean that kind of thing. Uh,
don't get that in Chicago.
you
You get
don't, yeah, yeah,
crackhead leaping at you. So
sure, yeah,
in the moonlight.
yeah, in the moonlight, still beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that kind of stuff just burned into my mind as being like quintessentially Californian touring experience. So I love that. I really love all the desert states as well. I love playing in Arizona. Um, that the place that we're playing on the Teenage Bottle Rocket tour, the Yucca Tap Room in Tempe, Arizona, is one of my favorite venues. Um, I love playing in Wyoming. I love the landscape, so I love driving through Denver. Oh, well, the whole of Colorado. You know, it's
Yeah,
just stunning.
Colorado's gorgeous. Yeah,
Absolutely. I was really lucky to spend a whole chunk of time. I can't even remember how long, good like 4 or 5 days in Colorado before the last US tour. Just me, Tim Brown, and Brian from Elway went up Pikes Peak on the Cog Railway. We went to, you know, these old like silver and gold mining towns out in the mountains where there's just nobody left, like ghost towns. Yeah, had the full Colorado experience. So soaked it up for sure. I think a lot of that's going to make it onto the next record, to be honest. Like, keeps going. Yeah,
nice little preview. Thank
for sure.
you. um, so how'd you end up on Red Scare? How'd you meet Toby and yeah,
The I so it's either a really long story or a really short story. You want me to give you
whichever
something
one
in the
you
middle?
want. Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere in the
Uh,
middle. If it ends up being long, that's fine.
okay, cool. When I was maybe in my early 20s, I went to see a band called Bullets to Broadway in Southampton in the south of England. And I loved the band, loved what I saw. There was Heather from the Teen Idols was in that band. I'll probably get it wrong, but either Guy or Guys from Rehashers in that band. Um, and I was just like really eager to be involved somehow with music. I hadn't been on tour at that point, so I asked if I could come along for a couple of shows. So they said yes, and I sold merch for them for a few shows. And I was standing there looking at the CD, and it was on Red Scare Industries, and I didn't know what Red Scare was because this was their first release.
Yeah,
And I just remembered it and said goodbye to them at the end of the tour and made lifelong friends out of the guys in that band. Left, and then I just kind of tracked what Red Scare was doing, and the Sundowner record came out, um, which obviously completely changed my entire you know outlook on music. Basically, Chris McCoggan solo is why I picked up an acoustic guitar in the first place, really. So I just followed along, and then I saw that there was some kind of connection between Brendan, the Lawrence Arms, sorry, Toby, Brendan, the Lawrence Arms, etc. So when Toby was putting out feelers for opening acts for Brendan Kelly in the UK, I just went so hard at him to try and get the job, and I was like, I'll play for free. I'll drive the van. I'll sell the merch as long as I can play 20 minutes at the start. I'm your guy. Eventually, he buckled and said yes. And that ended up being Brendan Kelly and Dan Andriano co-headline tour. So when I found that out, I just lost my mind because obviously I fucking love Alkaline Trio.
yeah,
Um, so I opened up that tour, became really good, fast friends with Dan and Brendan, and I think they just went home and said, not only is this guy an okay driver and a good merch guy, but he's got a couple of all right songs, so maybe take a look. And Toby did, and then he called me up one day, completely wasted, in a Chicago bathroom with Dave Hawes, and basically shouted at me for 20 minutes about how he wanted to put my record out. Yeah, and that started truly, I hope, a lifelong friendship with Toby. I just there's no one in music I have more respect for than Toby. What he's achieved, what he's done, what he continues to do for his bands, and the principles that the label stands for. So basically, yeah, Brendan went home and recommended me to Toby, and I like to think I haven't let him down yet.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it seems to be a tale as old as time when it comes to Red Scare. If you prove that you're willing to work and you're not a rough hang, you might stand a chance of being on the label.
I'm just imagining Toby and Dave Haas like in a bathroom screaming at you right now, just like you're fucking awesome.
It wasn't about me. They were shouting about themselves
Oh,
the whole time. But it was really funny because I remember I just moved to Manchester and I didn't have a job. It was raining. I was bummed. I was riding a bike around delivering resumes to every warehouse in the whole of Manchester. I was getting nothing. My phone rang and I remember being like, I don't want to fucking talk to anyone. I looked at it. It was an American number. I thought, oh, who the fuck is this? I answered it and it was Toby and Dave, screaming and telling me
yeah.
they're going to put out my first record. So it was a real, that was pretty uplifting, should we say?
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great memory for me for sure.
Um, so I'm gonna show you something. This is fun. It might be kind of awkward for you, but I don't know. Maybe. First time I ever heard of you
Hmm.
was I entered an Instagram contest and won this.
Oh, that was you!
That was me. That was
No
me.
way! Holy
Like
shit!
and Katie Hovland's a friend of mine. She does your PR. She
Yeah.
sent me a message like, "Hey, you want to, interview or review the new record?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah!" Like I fucking love that, love everything
Oh
I've heard.
man,
So
that's fantastic.
yeah, so just
Oh,
kind of a
thanks for.
funny little connection here. You
Oh,
know,
fuck yeah, that's great.
yeah.
I
Um,
that is one of my favorite projects I've ever worked on. That one, well, really that one song, the Christmas Under
yeah,
the Pier.
yeah.
I wanted for so long to write you know, a song that kind of straddles summer and winter and has beachy Christmas vibes, and just never really found a way to do it. So I was so glad I got to record that in that way. That's actually Josh, the bass player in the band right now, plays drums on that weirdly for some reason, or percussion, should we say? Yeah. And Chris plays a little bit of lead guitar in there, and my one of my very very best friends, um, Katie Black, rips the sax solo on that. It's my
Oh, that's
favorite
awesome.
thing about anything I've ever put out is her sax solo. I think. Yeah.
I'd spin this every single Christmas since I got it. So
Ah, that's exactly what it's designed for.
yep.
Thanks for doing that, man. Nice one.
Hey, I was so stoked that I got it. I'm like, really? I won? Oh, cool.
I think the only thing that's awkward about that is I'm wearing the exact same clothes as I am in the photograph on the back of that record.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, slightly
Awesome.
limited wardrobe. Yeah.
Hey, you.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
That's the
Oh,
spot where I wrote quite a lot of the lyrics for this record. I wrote that I wrote Bruises and Sunburn on that pier. That's a beach that I go to a lot.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
The one that you take walks on and all that.
Yeah, it's called Chroma. It's on the Norfolk coast. Yeah, it's like all English beach towns. It's a little bit forgotten, a little bit lost to time. But yeah, it's a sandy beach, incredible sunsets and sunrises. It's yeah, one of my favorite places to kind of get my head into songwriting.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
I just want to walk on a beach. So,
Well, if you're ever in England, I'll take you there and buy you a delicious slash questionable English beach snack.
fuck yeah. I always love questionable beach snacks. So
Now there's a band name.
yep. All right. Well, I will leave you to it. I'm gonna go enjoy this and enjoy the new record as well.
Nice one.
So
Thanks,
much for taking the
Jason.
time. And
Oh,
then
yeah, I appreciate you asking such probing questions. It's really great to talk to someone who has listened and has an appreciation of it. Thank you so much.
thank you for that. Thank you. Um, oh yeah, I'm also there's a Red Scare's point out the four Psalm 7 inch. I'm doing a review for New Noise for that. So
Oh, great. Nice
yeah.
one.
So I'm excited to
Cool.
hear that. I haven't gotten in the mail yet, but I'm pretty stoked for that. So
Awesome. Well, my song on there is just I wanted a 10-track album. That's the one that didn't make it onto the album. It was recorded in the same session, so it should have a similar
oh,
vibe.
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Excited to hear it. All right,
Awesome.
Sam. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Uh,
brother.
and I'll let you know when the article's done and send you a copy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. Maybe I'll see you in Chicago.
Yeah. Next time you're here, I'm going to come. So all
Awesome. All right, man. I'll see you there.
right, cheers.
Take care, Jason.
All right, you too. Bye.
See you soon, mate.